Ladies and gentlemen, Bennet Wong and Jock McKeen.
We went to the wrong side. But that happens. We'll go this way, Ben. Just walk this way. Okay, I'll be good, I promise. Chancellor Atleo, President and Vice Chancellor Nilsson, Board Chair Brown, distinguished platform guests, faculty, families, friends, and especially graduates. Thank you for honoring us here today as a team. We've been a team now, like Rogers and Hammerstein, for over 40 years. And thank you particularly for the privilege of addressing this solemn convocation. Incidentally, and some of you know this, Ben has Parkinson's, so that sometimes interferes with his speech. But I can assure you, it doesn't ever interfere one jot with his mind. So, not to worry. So, Ben, you are going to talk about prejudice and what you experienced in the 30s.
When I was a teenager in the 1930s, I couldn't understand why I was treated the way I was. The other teenagers had their own kind of social life, which excluded me. And I found myself searching for companionship, a recognition, anything that could help me find myself. I found ultimately that I could have talks with God. And I was irritated with God because he made me a Chinese boy in the middle of a white America. And I would say to God, you just as well, you could have put me anyplace else in the world. Why would you put me in Saskatchewan? And the answer I experienced there was to make you humble. And sure enough, the Moose Jaw experience has been very humbling. Although I was happy with my work as an adolescent psychiatrist, I noticed the attributes that Jock McKeen had that I wanted to try to discover some common ground between his work and my work. And this has led us on a path of 40 years of living and studying together. And with Jock, I find whatever help I can. I had my first experience with death when I was a new intern. I helped take care of a man who had heart disease, and I spent 3 days and 3 nights by his bedside, taking care of him. And on the 3rd night he died. And I was trained to be objective about this kind of experience. But I was at the bedside comforting the family, and they held me and gave me strength.
And they let you cry with them.
And we all cried together. And I was aware that I was not supposed to do that. And that began my understanding that I would have to be different to follow a path with feeling.
So when I hear that story, it seems like they saw into you. They got past the objectification that had happened when you were growing up. And prejudice, of course, a synonym really is objectification. Now, objectification psychologically is normal. Little child learning language has to learn to objectify in order to separate from the parents, in order to become an independent being. So the mental operation of naming things is an objectification, and the child learns to move in a world of objects, and that's human nature. The problem is, for many people, it stops there. So it's not that objectification is the problem. Our work then has been how to move through and past objectification, to get past this stuckness and into relationships of empathy. And of course, what that brings us into is talking about things that are, many of us are talking about diversity. When you see more deeply into people, you begin to see the commonness that's under the surface of what appears to be separate. So we were listening very carefully to the First Nation Summit, and we were very taken with what Chancellor Atleo said in January at that meeting, and quite stimulated by this. Our ability to see one another is the first step. I'm going to say that again. Our ability to see one another is the first step. Well, I'm here to say we agree. Opening your eyes is the way you begin to see. But that's not the end. That's just the beginning. To really see another person, you have to open your mind. You have to start to imagine what the world is like for that person. And in order to do that fully, you have to open your feelings, and you do that through your heart. So we say to the convocation today, as we've been bleating away for years, let's open our eyes and our minds and our hearts to connect, to communicate, to cooperate, to care. So James Hollis writes, the greatest gift to others is our own best selves. Okay, I keep turning to you people, because this is your day. I mean, thanks for having us be part of it. It's a thrill. But I'm asking you now, who are you? What are your core values? What do you want to do? Do you have a dream? If you want a life of integrity, find out what you really want and then share it with somebody. Share it with a bunch of people. This can be your contribution. This can be your path to your best self. So, I'm reciting someone else's poetry now. This is real. It's in the first person, but really it's for each one of us. I live my life in growing orbits, which move out over the places of the world. Perhaps I can never achieve the last, but that will be my attempt. I am circling around God, around the ancient tower, and I have been circling for 1,000 years, and I still don't know if I am a falcon or a storm or a great song.